Let's now shift our focus to China, where a meeting of the Communist Party is underway. A party which began with just 12 members in 1921 has 90 million members now and rules over 1.4 billion people. It commands and controls practically everything in China, with one supreme leader, Xi Jinping, the president of China since 2013, who is all set to rule for life. This crucial meeting in China is part of a plenary which started on Monday. Nearly 400 members of the party's powerful Central Committee have gathered in Beijing to hold a meeting behind closed doors. Officially, it's the 6th plenary session of the 19th Central Committee of the Communist Party, during which the 100-year-old ruling party will pass a rare and historic resolution, which will pave the way for an unprecedented third term of President Xi. Apart from this, little is known about what exactly is going on in Beijing. But the outcome is not expected to bring good news to the region, to the West, and especially to two former Chinese regions, Hong Kong and Taiwan. With tensions between Beijing and Taipei soaring to an all-time high, Taiwan carefully sits near the mouth of the dragon, trying to rely on its ally, the United States. The defense minister of Taiwan has been warning of Chinese acts of intimidation and military exercises. And in the latest, the island's defense minister has once again sounded an alarm on China's capabilities of blocking major ports, airports, and cutting off key transportation links to the island. The self-governed democratic island lives under constant threat of invasion by China, as China has already started its quest to rule Taiwan. It has launched a campaign of a grey zone warfare, a warfare campaign of intimidating military exercises, patrols and surveillance that falls just short of armed conflict. This campaign is now intensifying, with China sending more warplanes into the airspace of Taiwan. Several military strategists have now, from around the world, come together to lay out a 6-phased attack plan of China. This attack plan is how the military strategists believe the struggle might play out. But before breaking down the different phases, let's now look at the demography of Taiwan. In the geographical unit, Taiwan has a group of outlying islands away from its mainland, with two of them extremely close to the Chinese mainland. The Matsu Islands and the island of Kinmen being the closest, which makes them the most vulnerable to Chinese aggression. Now let's tell you about the scenarios laid out by these global military strategists. The first scenario: China decides to impose a blockade on Taiwan's Matsu Islands in a bid to increase pressure on Taipei to open talks on unification. The small island of more than 13,000 people will hardly stand a chance to defend itself. The second scenario now, to target the island of Kinmen, lying about 6 kilometers from the Chinese port city of Xiamen on the coast of the Fujian province. It is home to about 140,000 people. Chinese troops can easily take control of the airport and claim the island. Let's now come to the third scenario. Again, this is not a situation of an all-out war. It is China's bid to force the island's leadership to agree to talks. A vast fleet of the PLA Navy, Coast Guard and maritime militia ships around Taiwan can enforce a quarantine. PLA fighters and air defense can take control of Taiwan's interceptors. All this leads China to act number 4, scenario 4, of enforced control. With a massive military presence on water, air and on ground, the PLA troops can practically enforce control over Taiwanese customs, maritime and airspace. All these acts will undoubtedly invite Western retaliation, which will definitely not end with sanctions. Beijing will demand the international community to refrain from interfering in China's internal affairs and call on the Taiwanese authorities to avert a looming global crisis and open immediate talks on unification. And if it doesn't agree, Beijing will then launch a missile campaign. All this according to the military strategists. The PLA's goal is to overwhelm the island before the United States and its allies can respond. However, amid a global outcry over massive casualties and approaching Western warships, the only way to exert control is an all-out invasion. Once again, all these scenarios are by their very nature speculative. They are not predictions of events to come. This report examines the possible conflict scenarios as laid out by global military strategists. WION The World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.